بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Hi guys, hope you feel good. How was your day? Did you have a good day today? Can you hear me? Very good. And we spent most of the semester, and I can ask you this important question. Which lesson, which course is more difficult for you and requires more time to study this semester? Which course is more difficult for you? Which is the third course? Which is the third course? Mr. Aqil, Mr. Hussein. I'm talking about course. I don't talk about chapter and lectures. Which course in this semester is more difficult for you? You have many courses. You have 2 or 3 courses this semester. Which lesson? You know? For example, distributed system or any other. Proposal. And proposal is very important for you because it shapes your MSc. It shapes your MSc. And if you select your proposal correctly, it can help you in your future study, for example, in your PhD, to continue it. So it's very important, and it's a good idea to take enough time to select a good topic for your proposal. So it's very important, yes, really important. What about your course? Other courses you have? Easy. Okay. And what do you think about distributed system? This course, is it easy for you? Is distributed system a simple and easy course for you this semester? But it's easy, really it is easy. One you should do is only to pay attention to the course and take notes when I'm talking and I am explaining topics and subjects. Take notes, that's it. And also you can have PDF files, and your notes and reviewing these resources is enough to get a good grade, a good mark at the end of the semester. So it's not difficult, really it's not difficult. You are very good and smart students, I'm sure. And and I suppose you will finish the semester with good marks. Are you married or single? Who are married in this class? Who are married in this class? مزدوج، متأهل. Who is married? Mr. Ammar, Miss Rasha, yeah. Mustafa. So, wow, a lot of students are married here. Really, good for you, Mr. Ammar. Very good. So, I know, I understand it's difficult for married people, for married boys and girls, for married people, because I can understand you are too busy in your life, and it's difficult to study master degree while you are married. But if you clearly schedule your tasks so you can do all your tasks correctly and properly. And when I was a student at MSc, I was married. When I was a student at PhD, I was married too. And it was difficult. And I completely understand you. So, we had a good discussion about migration, process migration. We talked about the definition of the migration. We talked about why we use migration, why we transfer process to another machine, and we talked about different methods of migration. The last method was flushing. We talked about them completely. And now we want to talk about negotiation of process migration. Who starts migration? Who starts migration? Both source and destination should agree, have to agree for migration. So it is necessary that both machines be agree with this migration. It's not enough that only source machine wants to transfer process. The destination also must agree with this migration. So both source machine and destination machine must agree with migration. There are subsystems called starter on both machines, source machine and destination machine. Starter, it is subsystem, and these subsystems start negotiation. They can negotiate for migration, for doing migration. And you know what is negotiation? Do you know what is negotiation? For example, when a football player wants to go to another club, a negotiation between these two clubs must be done. Negotiation between these two clubs, football clubs, must be done to transfer football player from one club to another club. So when we want to transfer a process from one machine to another machine, a negotiation must be done. Clear? Wow, it was a good example, I think. No? Negotiation. What do you think? What do you say in Arabic? I don't know. For example, suppose a football player in Club A, wants to go to Club B. For example, between from Real Madrid and Barcelona. Okay, a football player in Real Madrid wants to go to Barcelona. So a negotiation between these two clubs, Real Madrid and Barcelona, is done. Barcelona and Real Madrid negotiate on transferring football player. It is negotiation. Yes, I know that it will never happen. It's just example. How we can say negotiation in Arabic? What do you say? What's the word in Arabic for negotiation? التفاوض استعارة negotiation about, for example, price, for example, and okay. So I don't know what word is better, but I try to I try to explain it by giving examples. So uh, similar to transfer football player between clubs, we have transfer of process between machines here. Okay, we want to transfer a process from source machine to the destination machine. These two machines must negotiate about migration. These two subsystems called starter on both machines, source and destination, negotiate on migration. So decision to migrate must be reached jointly by two starters in source and destination. The information that is sent in negotiation from source to destination is about process. For example, how many CPUs the process needs and how much memory is needed for executing this process, and is it necessary to use any external device for executing this process, and many other things. So there are many things for negotiation between these two machines about transferring process. Finally, the destination decides to agree or disagree. The destination decides to agree or disagree for migrating process. If it agrees, the migration will start. That's it. Very easy. Yes, agreement. Yes, yes. Clear? In Farsi, we say مذاکره. Negotiation, مذاکره. It's Arabic, I think. Okay, so you can understand the meaning of negotiation. Is it correct? مذاکره. In fact, مذاکره. Is it correct for negotiation? No, it's not correct. Okay. Okay, okay. Oh, means to study and learn. Oh, okay, okay. So, okay, forget about it. Migration steps. The first step is negotiation. It means source machine and destination machines start to talk together, start to talk about the negotiation to reach an agreement. Okay, so here P stands for process, S stands for source machine, and D destination. The first step is negotiation. Both source and destination machines must negotiate on migration. For example, about to accept the process, about the method of migration, about the method of migration. You know, we had different methods for migration: flushing, copy on reference, pre-copy. So source and destination machine can negotiate about the method of migration and many other things. If agreement cannot be reached in this negotiation, if agreement cannot be reached, for example, because some resources are not available on the destination, so migration is aborted, it is cancelled, migration is cancelled, and the starter that requested the migration on source machine is notified. It is informed that the negotiation is aborted. Clear? There is no problem, Muhammad Jafar. You can go if you want. Okay. Okay, no problem. So, was it clear? If there wouldn't be agreement, if agreement cannot be reached during negotiation between source machine and destination machine, then the migration is aborted, the migration is cancelled, and it finished. Clear? I think it's very clear, it's very easy. The next step is about transfer processes address space. Process address space. You know what is address space? The address space is the space that all the data related to the process is stored on. It is called address space. What are the data related to the process that is stored in address space? What are? Name it. What data is stored in address space? PBC, no, PCB, process control block, PCB. Yes. And what else? All the information of process, such as process name, such as flags, registers, yes, local variables, heap area, stack area, all these information, yes. So we transfer this address space to the destination. It is the next step. And the third step is establishment. It's very important in this step, establishment. Consider we want to transfer local variables of process. Local variables such as integers, strings, characters, they are simple data structures. And also we have complex data structures, advanced data structures such as arrays, and also linked list, pointers. So we must transfer all these data to the destination machine. How we can do it? It's very clear. We must convert these data types to byte arrays, to byte stream, to a stream of bytes. So we convert, for example, an integer or a string to byte stream, and then we can send these byte streams to the destination machine. This is called marshalling. This is called marshalling. No, it's not backup. It's not backup. It is converting all the data structures to a stream of bytes, many bytes, a stream of bytes, okay? Stream of characters. We convert these data to a stream of bytes, and then we can send this stream of bytes to the destination. It is called marshalling, converting data structures to a stream of bytes. Is it clear? No problem, Mr. Ziauddin. You can translate to Arabic if you can understand what I am saying. So you can translate to Arabic. Try it. Try it. Translate. Translate what is establishment and marshalling. I enabled your microphone. No, Mr. Hussein, marshalling is destructuring the data. For example, we have some data structures such as integer, characters, strings, and arrays, and then we must convert these different data structures to a stream of bytes. A stream of bytes. Many bytes, one after the other bytes, okay? And then we can transfer them to the destination machine. Converting these data structures to byte stream is called marshalling. That's it. Mr. Ziauddin, can you hear me? I enabled your microphone, so if you want to translate to Arabic, you can start. Where is Mr. Ziauddin? So what should we do? Uh, can you use the microphone of your laptop? Don't use your headphone, okay? Disconnect it and use the microphone installed on your laptop so you can talk with it. Oh, okay. Try it, yes. Try it. Okay, so what's the solution? I hope with refreshing it solves. Uh, is there any other student who can translate to Arabic? Is there any other translator here to translate English to Arabic? No, there is not. Is there any student here who can translate Farsi to Arabic? Is there any student here who can understand Farsi? No. So I don't know what should I do. There isn't any student who understand Farsi. There is not any student who can understand English properly, so I don't know what I should do. Yes, Mr. Ziauddin.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Ziauddin. How are
Hi,
you?
Doctor. How are you? We solved the issue. Congratulations. Thank you for your lecture.
Oh, there is a noise here. No problem. In this slide, you can see a picture for different process migration steps. As you can see,
Now it's okay, Doctor?
the starter in... Yeah, I'm talking. Can you hear?
Yeah,
Can you
now
hear
I'm
me?
hear you, Doctor, yes.
Okay. I'm talking about process migration steps here. If you see at this figure, you can see that the starter in machine number 1 sends a message to the starter in machine number 3 and ask, would you take P? P means process. And this starter, yes. And it is negotiation. After this negotiation, the migration is started by packing and marshalling data and sending the message to machine 3, and you can follow these steps. It's a very good picture to show different process migration steps. That's it.
Yes,
Can you
Doctor.
translate?
السلام عليكم أساتذة. دا يحكي الدكتور على negotiation يعني معناها مفاوضات. دائما تصير مثلا بين الشركات مفاوضات على فد شيء معين، وبعدين من يصير اتفاق على هاي المفاوضات تمشي الأمور طبيعي. فهنا دا يحكي على negotiation of processing migration. يقول لك شلون تصير المفاوضات؟ تصير المفاوضات هماتن بين طرفين، الطرف اللي هو client اللي هو احنا مثلا حاسبتنا، والطرف الثاني اللي هو destination مثل ما تقول الوجهة او الهدف اللي يريد نرسله اللي processing. اوكي، فاول شيء راح يسأل الكلاينت، راح يسأل الديستنيشن، راح يقول له شوف اول خطوة يقول لك will you take processing، تقبل تاخذ تسوي معالجة. فاذا دز للطرف الثاني يعني الديستنيشن دز له يابا اي اوكي انا قبلت اعالج، فراح تبدي شغل البروسيسنج ميجريشن، راح تبدي حسب الخطوات اللي هو مذكورة بالمخطط. انه الخطوة رقم 3 راح يصير ميجريشن اوت، راح يعني تهاجر مثل ما نقول او يوصلون للبروسيسنج. اوكي، تروح من عندها تروح للحاسبة الثانية اللي هي رقم 3، ذيك راح تقبلها وهكذا. وهاي الأثناء هسه الأستاذ راح يحكي على شغلات على الميشرنج وهيج سوالف، يعني هسه نشوف شنو اللي راح يقول الدكتور. Yes, doctor, you can complete.
Okay. So eviction. Eviction means, what does it mean in Arabic, eviction? Mr. Ziauddin?
It's meaning زي ما كان say إخلاء أو that's mean if you wanna send everything to
yeah, okay.
another part so
Like
you
إخراج
do
or
إخلاء.
إخلاء,
Yeah. Yeah, إخراجه.
Okay. Okay, eviction. A process can come back to the source machine after migration. It is called eviction. A process can come back to the source machine after migration. For example, suppose the destination machine have accepted for migration. That's okay. So the migration is done. We transfer the process to the destination. But after a time, the destination machine may become too busy. It may have too works to do. So it decides to evict the process. It says, I am too busy, I have many jobs to do, so it decides to evict the process. The process comes back to the source machine. It is called eviction. Translate.
أساتذة الأستاذ هنا دا يحكي على الإيفكشن. الإيفكشن شنو هو؟ يعني إخلاء، أو مثل ما تقول هنا بالعملية مثل ما تقول الهندسية أو المعالجة اللي هنا، يعني مثل إعادة الطلب مثل ما يقول. على سبيل المثال يقول لك مثلا الكلاينت يطلب من البروسيسنج من من الديستنيشن، يقول له يابا سوي عملية البروسيسنج الفلانية، ويدز له العملية، وذاك يقبلها ويكمل يسوي البروسيسنج ويكمل العملية. بعض الأحيان مرات من الكلاينت يرسل هاي عملية المعالجة، يرسلها اسمه الديستنيشن يعني الحاسبة الثانية السيرفر، مرات ما يعني مثل ما تقول يقبلها وشوية ويرجعها مثل ما يقول، يعني شلون ما يكمل عملية المعالجة. قد يكون هو مثلا عنده هواي طلبات مع المعالجة فما يقدر يسوي كل الطلبات، فشي يسوي؟ يدز إيفكشن للكلاينت، يقول له يابا بأن هذا طلبك ما أقدر أسويه مثل ما يقول، عملية المعالجة دزيتها إلي ما أقدر أسويها. أوكي دكتور.
Therefore, if the source machine guess there would be an eviction on destination, then it would be a good idea not to delete process data on source machine, because an eviction may occur, so we need the data on source machine. Clear?
One point, doctor. So how the source he will he will feel that, we can say, how he will sense that the the processing will be eviction, for example.
It can guess. It depends on many things. For example, it depends on the conditions of the destination. Then there are some algorithms to guess about the eviction. If the source machine guess there would be an eviction, so the data on the source machine will not be deleted. So that's it.
Clear. فأساتذة على مود يتجنب الإيفكشن، أغلب السورس يعني يقول لك يقدر يتحسس أو يشعر بهذا الشيء. فسألته شلون يعني السورس أو الكلاينت راح يحس بأنه راح يصير إيفكشن؟ يقول لك نعرف أكو خوارزميات معينة تحدد هذا الشيء. أوكي، مثل ما تقول تتحسس بأنه راح يصير إيفكشن بالموضوع، فلذلك شو راح يسوي؟ ما راح يسوي شو اسمه ديليتنج للديتا الموجودة بيه، ما راح يمسحها، يعني يرسلها وأثناء من يرسلها يمسح اللي موجودة لا، مثل ما تقول يرسلها ويبقي نسخة يمه، نقدر نقول هيك شيء. أوكي، ليش؟ لأنه حس إنه احتمال يصير إيفكشن للديتا المرسولة. Yes, doctor.
That's it. Here there is a name, Zulfaqar. Is it a name real? Zulfaqar is a name?
Yes, doctor. The name of Imam Ali Saud, you can say.
Very nice. Yeah, I know. It's very interesting and beautiful name. I will give you 1 point at the final exam because of your beautiful name. Okay. So,
Doctor, sometimes my nickname is Ali ibn Abi Talib. Can you give me full mark?
Okay. And don't worry about the final exam, don't worry about the marks and grades. If you pay your attention to the course, if you listen carefully, and if you take notes, if you take some notes and review review your notes and also the PDF files, it would be very easy to get a good mark at the end of the semester. It's very easy, and I'm sure you are smart students. You can pass this course with a very good mark. So don't worry.
In fact, Doctor, just at the end of the lecture, just I have one point about the homework that you give it to us at the end of the lecture, maybe.
Okay. So,
Okay.
we talked about process migration. We talked about process migration a lot. Let me come back to this slide to review about different object migrations. Here, slide number 2. We said at the beginning of this lecture, we said that migration happens for thread, process, computation, data, and application. So we talked about process migration a lot. Now I want to talk about computation migration. And you can translate it, then I can continue.
أساتذة طبعا أول شيء الأستاذ ده يعني تعجب من اسم ذي الفقار، قال هذا اسم صديق، قلت له إيه هذا اسم، فقال يابا أستاذ ذي الفقار إلى درجة على الامتحان النهائي. أوكي، فمبروك أستاذ ذي الفقار. الشغلة الثانية هسه بالنسبة طبعا هم الأستاذ قال يابا لا تهتمون للامتحان وهيك شيء، انتباهكم وتسجيل الملاحظات هو راح يكون يعني مثل ما تقول الملاحظات اللي تسجلوها هو راح يجي من عند الامتحان، ولا تديرون بال يعني. هذه إن شاء الله. الشغلة الأخيرة اللي دا يحكي على أنواع الميجريشن وهذن الأنواع مالته، فحكينا على الثريد وحكينا على البروسيس، وهسه احنا نحكي على الكمبيوتيشن. أوكي دكتور.
So computation migration. As I said, we can also have computation migration. Like process migration, here we can transfer only a computation to the destination machine. Only a short, small computation to the destination machine. We may need a small operation such as search, a small search on some data or tables that is stored on the destination machine. Then we can transfer the computation to the destination. We can transfer the procedure or computation to the destination. It is called computation migration. Translate.
أساتذة يبلش الأستاذ الكمبيوتيشن مايجريشن، يقول لك هذه عملية مو إرسال معالجة كاملة، وإنما يرسل يعني مثل ما تقول عمليات قصيرة أو عمليات حسابية بسيطة. أوكي، فيرسلها للديستنيشن، وبالديستنيشن راح يعني شلون راح يكون أكو فد سيرش بالموضوع وهيك شيء. أوكي، حتى يطلع له عملية الحساب، لأن هي فد شيء بسيط مو مثل البروسيسنج. أوكي. يس دكتور.
Sending a small procedure to do something is not process migration. As I said, it is computation migration. It is procedure migration, and this is this procedure migrates to the destination. But nowadays, today, it is very common that we do not transfer procedure to the destination machine because the procedure is available on the destination machine. So the procedure nowadays, the procedure is on the destination machine. The only job we should do is to call this procedure remotely. So it is called remote procedure call. Therefore, RPC or remote procedure call is computation migration in fact. That's it.
أساتذة، فيحكي الأستاذ على الكمبيوتيشن فيقول لك هاي عملية إرسال البروسيجر مثل ما نقول. قبل كانت تصير، قلنا هي مو مثل البروسيسنج يرسل معالجة كاملة. هنا هاي بس البروسيجر اللي هو مثل ما تقول اكو بالديستنيشن فد تيبل على سبيل المثال، وبي فد معلومات على سبيل المثال، وعلى اساسها ياخذ بالش اسمه ياخذ من عندها يسوي سيرش هناك، بروسيجر مع سيرش، ويسوي هناك سيرش مثل ما تقول. اوكي، هسه يقول لك بالوقت الحالي بعد ما يحتاج انه يرسل بروسيجر للش اسمه للديستنيشن. ليش؟ لان حاليا اكو بالديستنيشن اصلا اكو بروسيجر، فشي يسوي؟ ما يدس بروسيجر الى، لا، يسوي له استدعاء. فلذلك ريموت بروسيسور كول اللي هو عمليه استدعاء البروسيجر اللي موجود بالحاسبه الديستنيشن مثل ما تقول. اوكي، او الوجهه. يا دكتور.
Consider this simple example. We have a shared printer in our system. The printer is shared, and we want to send a print. We want to print our document, and we want to use the shared printer. The only work we should do is to call the procedure. Is installed on the machine that connected to the printer. We call the procedure and we send the document to that procedure, and the procedure is being executed and our document is being printed. It's remote procedure call.
Sorry, doctor, but can you explain more? That's mean if I wanna let's mean do a printing for some document, for example. So that's mean which procedure that? Yes.
There is a procedure for printing. There is a procedure for printing on the destination machine. Okay, the printer is connected directly to the destination machine and it is shared for us. So we call the procedure, the printing procedure on the destination machine, and we send the document as a parameter to that procedure. So the procedure is being executed and our document is being printed. That's it. Very simple.
Clear. ينطي مثال على شو اسمه، على الريموت بروسيجر كول. يقول لك يابا اكو مثلا على سبيل المثال حاسبه، احنا يمكن العفو مو حاسبه وانما طابعه احنا متصلين بيها. اوكي، فيقول لك من متصل بيها طبعا عن طريق الانترنت يعني، وهيك شيء عن طريق الشبكه يعني. اوكي، فيقول لك من تريد تطبع في الدوكيمنت عن طريق البروسيجر اللي موجود بيها. اوكي، اللي مربوط بيها شو اسمه البروسيجرز، تقدر تسوي له استدعاء. اوكي، تدز له مثل ما تقول تدز له الفايلات للبروسيجر وهو يطبع لك اياها. اوكي. Yes, doctor.
Good. If you remember, we have also RMI, Remote Method Invocation for Object-Oriented Based Systems. It is equivalent of RPC. It is equivalent of RPC. RMI is equivalent of RPC for object-oriented based systems. So it's another example of computation migration.
So, doctor, RMI?
Yes, remote method invocation. Yes, RMI. It is equivalent of RPC for object-oriented based systems.
شباب يقول لك اكو مثيل للار بي سي اللي هو درسناه بالديستريبيوشن شو اسمه الأنظمة الموزعة، قريناه درسناه بالبداية، اللي هو RMI. اوكي، ريموت ميثود وراها الاي اللي هي ما ادري شنو هي الحاصل. اوكي، فعملية استدعاء مثل ذيك الطريقة هذه مشابهة إلها، بس هاي بالميجريشن. اوكي دكتور.
To understand how the RPC works, look at this figure, please. It is about local procedure calling. So it's a good idea to start with local procedure call. To understand how the remote procedure call works, it is better to start with local procedure call firstly. Suppose you are programming a code, for example, with C++. In your program, you use different functions, methods, or procedures, we say, okay? So you can call your methods or procedures locally in main, okay? So how it works? When you call a function or procedure in your program, immediately look at figure A here. Stack pointer shows the location that the call is occurred. Here you call a procedure. Immediately a stack frame is created. What is a stack frame? Stack frame is an area that stores different data, different necessary data about the procedure call. For example, about the parameters, about the return address, and variables, about the different data of procedure. Here we can a simple call. For example, suppose we have a simple method. No, this is not our method. Let me type a simple method here. Just look at the first. Line. Okay. Read is a procedure to read some data of a file, some bytes of a file. We want to open a file and read it. Okay. We have written a procedure read. What are the parameters? File descriptor, for example, file address, buffer, and the number of bytes we want to read. Okay, they are parameters we send to the procedure. We are talking about local procedure call. And so in a stack frame, we store the number of bytes, we store buffer, we store file descriptor, we store return address. We need the return address when we finish the procedure. We have to return to the location that the call is occurred. So the return address is needed. It is a stack frame, and it is the main thing that happens when a local procedure call is occur. Okay, clear? I think it is too long.
Yes, doctor.
And okay, very good, clever. Okay, thank you.
أساتذة الأستاذ هنا دا يريد يوضح الريموت بروسيسنج كول، فيقول لك أفضل طريقة إنه نوضح بها هذا الريموت بروسيسنج كول اللي عن طريق شنو اللوكال بروسيسور كول. اللوكال بروسيسور كول يقول لك على سبيل المثال عندك برنامج السي بلس بلس. اوكي من تريد تنفذ فد شيء او تريد تستدعي فد شيء، اول شيء لازم شو تسوي عن طريق على سبيل المثال هاي البوينتر. يقول لك اول شيء تستدعي البروسيجر. شنو اللي تريد تسوي انت؟ شنو البروسيجر اللي تريد تسوي؟ اول شيء لازم تستدعي. اوكي، على سبيل المثال عندك هاي ريد. اوكي، من تريد تستدعي هذا ريد، ايش راح يصير لك؟ راح يصير مثل الستاك، مثل ما اقول هذا الستاك شو بيه؟ عبارة عن مثل ما تقول عبارة عن فايل بمخزونة مجموعة مثل ما تقول بروسيجرات، مثل من على سبيل المثال عندك شو اسمه البفر مثلا، او على سبيل المثال النمبر اوف بايتس ماكو، عندك الريتيرن ادرس، كلهن مخزونات بي. اوكي، فمن نسوي عملية الاستدعاء راح تقول له ريد، على سبيل المثال قلنا ريد اللي نسويها، فشي تريد تسوي بريد؟ هاي مجموعة الباراميترز او الشغلات اللي تريد تسويها، اللي تريد تقراها، مثل ما نقول لك يا بدي اقرا مثلا نمبر اوف بايتس، او بدي اقرا مالته البفر مثلا. اوكي، اخر شيء قال الاستاذ انه اكدوا على الريتيرن ادرس. قال كلش مهم الريتيرن ادرس. ليش مهم؟ يقول لك لانه من تصير عمليه شو اسمه يعني معالجه وهيك شيء، من ترجع المعلومات للكلاينت، اوكي، يتم عن طريق الريتيرن ادرس. يعني انت تقول له يابا رجع لي، اوكي، رجع لي المعلومات او رجع لي النتيجه مثل ما تقول، عن طريق الريتيرن ادرس. يس دكتور.
Very thank you.
Welcome,
So,
Doctor. Most welcome.
what about remote procedure call? In non-local procedure call, in remote procedure call, which is non-local, we have a machine that calls a procedure, and we have a machine that the procedure is stored on. So, they are called callee and caller. Caller in distributed systems is client, caller, the machine that calls the procedure. It is client, calls the procedure. And callee is the machine that the procedure is stored on. It is server because it provides service. The procedure is stored on this machine. So caller and callee is client and server in distributed systems. That's it.
Sorry, Doctor, can you repeat, please?
Yes, of course. I said in remote procedure call, which is non-local, it is remote procedure call. We have a machine that calls a procedure. It is caller. A machine that calls a procedure, it is caller. And we have a machine that the procedure is stored on. It is callee. So caller in distributed system is client and callee is server.
Clear, Doctor. أساتذة هنا دا يقول لك البيسك مال RPC operation، العمل مالته شلون. يقول لك إنه non local مثل ما يقول. أوكي، عملية الاستدعاء شلون تكون عن طريق ماشينين مثل ما نقول، أو اثنين ماشين. ندري إحنا عن طريق الكلاينت والسيرفر. بالكلاينت عن طريق شنو؟ عن طريق اللي يسموها مسميين. واحد اسمه الكولر اللي هو الكلاينت، اوكي، اللي الكلاينت من عن طريقه يستدعي شو اسمه، يستدعي البروسيجر عن طريق شنو؟ الكولر اللي هو كلاينت، يعني يسموه كولر. المسمى الثاني اللي هو كالي اللي هو السيرفر، اوكي، السيرفر اللي بداخله مخزون البروسيجر. اوكي، فيعني الكلاينت من يريد، يعني مثل ما تقول الكلاينت او نقدر نقول الكولر، من يريد يستدعي البروسيجر، وين محفوظ البروسيجر؟ محفوظ بالكالي اللي هو السيرفر. اوكي. Yes, doctor.
Thank you. While looking at this picture, you can see client and server, how to communicate. The client send a request or call a procedure on server. The server receives the request. The procedure is being executed, and once it finishes, the result is sent to the client. The client waits for getting the result, and that's it. Very easy. It is RPC, remote procedure call, between client and server.
أساتذة هنا الأستاذ دا يوضح عملية مثل ما تقول الإرسال والاستلام أوكي بين الكلاينت وبين السيرفر. يقول لك أول شيء الكلاينت يرسل ريكوست أو كول نقدر نقول، المن يدزه للسيرفر. السيرفر من يستلمه يسوي له معالجة للريكوست هذا أوكي، ويدز النتيجة مرة ثانية المن للكلاينت. بهاي الأثناء أكيد الكلاينت من راح يدز، وعلى ما يعالج السيرفر الريكوست اللي دازه الكلاينت اكيد راح ينتظر شويه الكلاينت على ما يوصل له رد اوكي. فيقول لك هي هاي عمليه الارسال والاستلام الار بي سي. يس دكتور.
Please pay attention here. The client called the procedure remotely, but when the server receives the request, it calls the procedure locally. Why? Because the procedure is stored on the server. So this procedure is called locally on server. That's it.
كلير دكتور. أساتذة الأستاذ نبه على نقطة، شوف شان يعني شيء حلو. يقول لك الكلاينت هسه من دز هذا الريكوست سوى هذا الكول باعتباره يعني هو راد مثل ما تقول العملية الوسيجة من غير حاسبة اوكي، او عملية يعني الطلب اللي دزه هو يريده من غير جهة مثل ما نقول، فسوى كول ريموت يعني مثل ما تقول عن بعد نقدر نقول اوكي. بس السيرفر من وصل له الريكوست سوى باعتبار البروسيجر مخزون بداخله، فصار كول لوكالي بروسيجر. يعني الكلاينت من دز للسيرفر شنو كول ريموت باعتبار انه دز الجهه الثانيه او شو اسمه ماشين ثانيه اوكي. بس السيرفر من استلم الريكوست وسوى المعالجه اللي باعتبار البروسيجر موجود بداخل السيرفر، فصار كول لوكال بروسيجر. تميزوا بين الكول ريموت والكول لوكال. يس دكتور.
In here you can see how remote procedure call works. Assume that we have a procedure on server to add two variables to calculate the sum of two variables I and j. Okay, so we have a procedure on server machine to add two variables. The procedure is implemented on server. Client wants to call the procedure remotely. If you remember, in distributed systems, there should be transparency. We talked about transparency. That is, the client must think that the procedure is called locally, not remotely. It is transparency. The client should think that the procedure is called locally. So we have to hide distribution here because of providing transparency. Translate and then I will say how we can do it.
اوكي دكتور. اوكي اساتذه، فهنا يقول لك شلون عمليه مثل ما تقول هاي عمليه النقل او هيك شيء اوكي. فيقول لك هسه هنا عندك هاي الحاسبتين الكلاينت والسيرفر اوكي. بالسيرفر اكو البروسيجر اللي هو مال مثلا على سبيل المثال اريد اضيف لفد متغيرات اثنين اوكي، موجود هذا البروسيجر بالسيرفر. زين الكلاينت محتاجه، فش راح يسوي الكلاينت؟ راح يسوي كول ريموت اوكي حتى يستدعي هذا البروسيجر. بس بما انه نعرف احنا بالديستريبيوشن سيستم ونعرف انه بالترانسبيرنسي انه هو مثل ما تقول نظام واحد اوكي، نظام واحد وقوي، بحيث مثل ما تقول الكلاينت او المستخدم ما يعرف انه يعني يعرف انه نظام واحد اوكي. فشي يسوي بالكلاينت؟ يسوي كانما شلون يعني خداع او هيك شيء اوكي، يعني حتى يراوي شو اسمه اليوزر بانه هو ما دا يسوي ريموت كول ريموت، دا يسوي كول لوكال. هسه خلينا نشوف الاستاذ راح يشرح شلون راح يبين لليوزر بانه دا يسوي ريموت كول لوكالي مو شو اسمه مو ريموت، شلون راح يبين له. اوكي دكتور.
Thank you. So if you pay attention, the green the green arrow shows the implementation of add. It is the real procedure. Now we create a local procedure for add, but it's not real. It is fake procedure. It is a fake procedure here. Here we create a local procedure for add, but it is fake because we do not have the real add implementation here. It doesn't add two variables. It is a local procedure with the name add, but it is fake. What it does is about marshalling. So this fake procedure is called stop procedure, client stop. Client stop does marshalling data. It provides message. It means it convert I and J. I and J are two variables. They are data structures. So in this procedure, I and J's are being marshaled, converting to message stream byte. Okay, so the message then is sent across the network here. When we provide the message, this message is sent to the server. Translate.
Sorry, Doctor, if you can repeat, please. Sorry, Doctor, if you can repeat this information, please.
Okay. I repeat again. Here, the green arrow shows the implementation of add. It is the procedure add to add two variables, to calculate sum of two variables. Okay, it's the simple procedure we have on server. So to call this procedure, we want to provide transparency. It means the client must think that the procedure is being executed locally. So we create here, we create a local procedure add, but it's not the real procedure for add. It cannot add two variables. It is not implemented because we do not know how to implement it. We do not have the implementation. We create a fake procedure add. It is called client stop. You see here, client stop. This client stop tries to marshal the data. What are the data? I and J. We have two variables, I and J, and we want to calculate the sum of these two variables. So we do marshalling. We do marshalling here. Marshalling means converting data structures, for example, integers, floats, to byte streams. Then, after marshalling, we have a message. This message consists of byte stream. And then we can send this message to the server. Clear?
It's clear. اوكي يا اساتذه، فهسه الاستاذ راح يعني شرح انه شلون راح يصير هاي مثل ما تقول ترانسبيرنسي، بحيث يبين للكلاينت انه هاي العمليه مال المعالجه مال اضافه عنصرين انه دا تصير بداخله، باعتبار انه نعرف احنا السيرفر هو بي شو اسمه بي البروسيجر مال الادنج. اوكي، وعمليه الادنج اصلا قاعد يعني دا تتنفذ بالبروسيسنج. اوكي، هسه دا تشوفون السهم الاخضر دا يقول لك يابا implementation of adding. اوكي، دا يضيف، دا تصير اصلا داخل السيرفر. اوكي، بس حتى يوهم الكلاينت انه العمليه دا تصير بداخله. اوكي، فشي يسوي؟ مثل ما تقول يخلق له فد شو اسمه فد شلون جدول او مثل ما تقول كانما عمليه معالجه دا تصير بداخل الكلاينت. شو يسموها هاي العمليه التوهيم او العمليه المزيفه اللي هي مال المعالجه اللي بالكلاينت، يسموها كلاينت ستوب. اوكي، الكلاينت ستوب هي شنو؟ عمليه انه يخدع بها شو اسمه يخدع بها الكلاينت انه يابا العمليه دا تصير بداخلك بشكل لوكالي مو ريموتلي. اوكي شو راح يصير؟ هو الكلاينت طالب انه يابا ادنج ذني عنصرين. اوكي فش راح يسوي اول شيء بالكلاينت ستوب؟ راح يسوي شو اسمه المارشالينج شو اسمه للداتا. يعني شنو؟ يعني يحولها من داتا من ستراكشر شكلها لمن يحولها الى باي ستريم. من يحولها باي ستريم يرسلها على شكل مسج. وين يرسلها؟ يرسلها للسيرفر. اوكي السيرفر راح يستلمها. اوكي واكيد راح يفتحها مثل ما تقول، يعني يرجعها لاصلها ويتشو ويكمل المعالجه مالتها. اوكي دكتور.
After the message is received by server here, the message is received by the server. Okay, so we also have a stop procedure on server. This is the stop procedure on client to marshalling the data. Also, we have a stop procedure on server for unpacking the message. It is called demarshalling. Demarshalling for unpacking the message. It means this stop procedure, it is the stop procedure. This stop procedure convert byte streams to data structures. For example, to I and J, to two integer variables. It converts the byte stream to variables, and then after it converts the byte stream to variables, the local procedure add is called here for I and J, and then the result is calculated. That's it. Very easy.
اوكي يس دكتور. فاساتذه نكمل. يقول لك ورا ما ايش سوى بالكلاينت، انه كلاينت ستوب وسوى عمليه مارشلينج للديتا وحولها من الديتا ستراكشر للبايت ستريم ودزها على شكل رساله للسيرفر. السيرفر ايش راح يسوي؟ همات عنده ستوب. ايش يسموها؟ ستوب ان باكينج، او يسموها باعتبار بالكلاينت يسوي مارشلينج، بالسيرفر شو يسوي للداتا؟ يسوي دي مارشلينج، بمعنى يعيد مثل ما تقول يرجعها لاصلها. اوكي لان هو حولها من داتا ستراكشر للباي ستريم. هسه شو يسوي هنا بالسيرفر؟ راح يحول الباي ستريم المن يحولها لداتا ستراكشر، يرجعها على شكل انتجر متغيرات. اوكي ويكمل عمليه المعالجه باعتبار انه بداخله دا يصير الامبلمنتيشن. اوكي يس دكتور.
Thank you.
Welcome doctor. Most welcome.
Finally, it's very clear that all the steps are repeated inversely. Why? To send the result from server to client if it is necessary. If the client needs to receive the result, so all these steps are repeated inversely. معكوس. To send the result from server to client. It means the result is being marshaled in a stop procedure of server, and then the message is sent to the client. The stop procedure on client demarshal the message, and the result is sent to the location that the procedure is called. That's it.
Sorry doctor, I mean the client he send this, we can say, data to get a result. Okay, so there is some times that mean the client he didn't want to receive results from the server because
Yes.
they say if necessary.
In some situation the client just needs to call the procedure and it doesn't need the result. For example, to show something on monitor. Okay, if some results are shown on the monitor on the server, it's enough. The client does not need to receive the result. That's it. For example.
Clear doctor. Thank you Allah. فأساتذة الأستاذ وضح إنه هاي العملية شلون الإرسال يرسلها، طريقتها إنه يابا بالكلاينت راح يصير الكلاينت ستوب وتتحول من الداتا ستراكشر للباي ستريم، والرسالة تروح للسيرفر وتنعكس العملية يعني من الباي ستريم شو اسمه يسويها دي مارشلينج وتصير عملية المعالجة. يقول لك اكو مرات انه يحتاج الكلاينت يستلم نتيجة من السيرفر. من يحتاج هذا الشيء معناها شنو؟ هاي العملية اللي صارت راح تصير بالعكس، انه راح يصير المارشلينج راح يصير بالشو اسمه بالسيرفر، من السيرفر راح يدزها على شكل رسالة، بالكلاينت راح يستلم الرسالة يحولها يعني يسوي لها دي مارشلينج اوكي ويستلم النتيجة مالتها. فسألته قلت له يا استاذ انه يعني اكو مرات انه الكلاينت ما يحتاج يستلم نتيجة من السيرفر. قال لي ايه، على سبيل المثال مثلا الكلاينت يريد يظهر فد شيء للسيرفر، مثلا على سبيل المثال فد صورة معينة هيك ماكو، او رسالة بس يريد السيرفر يشوفها اوكي تظهر له يعني بالشاشة مالته، فمن يعني يجزها ماكو داعي يستلم يعني يعني هو بس يجزها يقول له يابا شوف هاي النتيجة او شوف هاي الصورة، فماكو داعي يستلم من عنده نتيجة. ان شاء الله واضح اساتذة. يس دكتور.
Thank you. And here are the steps of remote procedure call we talked about. The first step is client procedure calls client stop. Why? To marshal the data. And client stop builds message. 3. Client operating system sends the message to remote operating system. 4. Remote operating system gives the message and sends it to the server stop. For what? For demarshalling. So 5. Server stop unpacks demarshal parameters. 6. Server does work, calls the procedure locally and return result to the stop. 7. Server stop packs the result, marshal the result in message. 8. Server's operating system sends the message to client. 9. Client receives the message and send it to the client stop. For what? For demarshalling here. And 10. Stop procedure on client unpacks or demarshal the result. That's it. I think it does not need to be translated. It's very clear. Okay, so I skip to the next slide. Here. As we talked before, a stack frame consists of local variables of the procedure. Here we have a procedure, for example, with 3 parameters: character x, float y, integer array z with 5 elements. An array of 5 elements, 5 integers. Okay, so I want to talk about a very important concept. How we can call the procedure, it depends on the strategy. For example, we can call a procedure by passing value. It is call by value. Or we can have call by reference. Do you know what's the difference between call by value and call by reference?
أساتذة طبعا هنا الأستاذ دا يحكي عنه إنه أكو مفهومين اللي هي call and value و call by reference. Doctor, call by reference, I think that's mean, for example, that at the that value at the we can say place 2. Okay, there is a value in this. Okay, so this is call by value. Can say.
Call by value is copying all the parameters and send to the procedure we call. It is call by value, copying all the parameters. For example, we must copy character x, we must copy a variable float, and we must copy an integer array of 5 elements and store them in a stack frame. Figure B shows stack frame. So as you can see here, we must store all the elements of the array Z0, Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4 it is call by value. We pass all the values to the procedure. In this case, if our array is very large, for example, an integer array of 1 million elements, we have to send all the 1 million elements to the procedure. It is not
So
efficient.
call by reference is better.
Yes, in this situation we can use call by reference. In call by reference, we do not copy the parameters and variables and send to the procedure. We only send the address of the parameter to the procedure. Address means the address of the array in the memory, in main memory. For example, this array is stored in main memory and it has an address. If we send the address to the procedure, so we can access to this array on procedure 2, but we do not need to copy and send all the elements of the array to the procedure. It is called call by reference. Translate.
Clear دكتور. Clear دكتور. الأستاذ هنا دا يوضح الفرق بين الكول باي فاليو كول باي ريفرنس. سأل قال يابا شنو الفرق بيناتهم؟ الكول باي فاليو يقول لك من تريد يعني تسوي استدعاء عن طريق الفاليو لازم شنو؟ لازم تنسخ كل المحتويات. مثلا على سبيل المثال عندك الاري زد، اوكي، بيها فد على سبيل المثال فد 100 قيمه، اوكي، او 100 متغير او اكثر، كلهم لازم تنسخن، اوكي. هاي بالفاليو، فهاي العمليه يعني تحس فيها مو efficient، يعني مو كفؤه. فالافضل منها شنو؟ call by reference. ليش افضل من عندها؟ لان عندك على سبيل المثال مثل ما قلنا شو اسمه المصفوفه زد، اوكي، فد بها 100 قيمه او اكثر، 100 متغير. فانت من تريد قيمه معينه او متغير معين تدز بس العنوان، تقول له يابا استدعي لي شو اسمه العنوان الفلاني الزد، مصفوفه زد اللي العنوان مالتها مثلا 0 شنو يعني المكان اللي مخزون به، اوكي، او شو اسمه الزت القيمه مالتها العنوان مالتها شو اسمه 10، اوكي، راح يطلع لك بالمصفوفه بالمرتبه ال10 شنو مخزون بيها، اوكي، فراح يعطيك اياها بسرعه. فالكول باي ريفرنس افضل من الكول باي فاليو. ليش؟ لان كول باي فاليو تحتاج انه تنسخ كل المحتويات تنسخها. يس دكتور.
Thank you. Although call by reference seems to be more efficient, but unfortunately it is very difficult to implement for remote procedure call. There is a reason here. The addresses of the source machine is different from the addresses of the destination machine. In other words, when we send the address of the array, the address of the memory of the array to the destination machine, it is not meaningful for the destination machine. So I cannot say it is impossible, but it's very difficult to implement with remote procedure call. So in remote procedure call, we try to use call by value, not call by reference. Clear?
Sorry, Doctor, can you repeat it, please?
Yes. I said, although call by reference seems to be more efficient compared to call by value in local procedure call, but unfortunately it is very difficult to implement when we call a procedure remotely. Why? Because the addresses of memory in source machine are different from the addresses of memory in destination machine. I mean, if we send an address of the array of the source machine to the destination machine, this address is not meaningful for the destination machine. So it is difficult to implement call by reference while we use remote procedure call. Therefore, in RPC, we must try to use call by value, not call by reference. That's it. Clear?
Clear, دكتور. الأستاذ وضح أنه قلنا شو اسمه باعتبار اللي call by reference أفضل من call by value، أوكي، وأكثر كفاءة. بس هاي وين؟ بالcall local، أوكي، locally، أوكي، يعني بنفس الحاسبة، أوكي، هي كفوءة أفضل. بس من نريد نسوي remote processing call، هذه العملية مو كفوءة، يعني من نريد أسوي استدعاء عن طريق الريفرنس، هذه ما تكون يعني مو كفوءة، بمعنى أنه دائما النتائج تكون مو صحيحة. ليش؟ يقول لك لأنه الريفرنس أو الأسماء أو العناوين اللي موجودة بالديستنيشن وبالكلاينت مختلفة، اوكي، فلذلك من تسوي تقول له يابا رجع لي مثلا او سوي لي استدعاء للعنوان الفلاني، هو ما راح يعرفه، او اغلب الاحيان راح يكون يختلف عن الطلب اللي انت رايده، اوكي. فلذلك بالريموت بروسيسنج كول افضل شيء انه تسوي عن طريق شو اسمه كول عن طريق الفاليو، مو عن طريق الريفرنس. بمعنى انه كول باي ريفرنس هو صحيح اكثر كفاءة وافضل من الفاليو، بس نستفاد منه وين؟ بالكول لوكالي، اوكي. بس من نريد نسوي ريموت بروسيسنج كول، الافضل نستعمل الفاليو، كول باي فاليو. Yes, doctor. Sorry, doctor. Some student they say that it's a time of praying, so if there is a chance to give us a rest, and this is depend on you. If you.
I will finish 5 minutes later. Okay. I like to pray. I like to do prayer on time too. Okay. But
Okay.
we have time. There is no problem. When we are on class, it's acceptable to postpone, to delay
Of course.
for a
Of
few
course.
minutes. There is no problem.
Of course.
Okay. So yes. So
أستاذ يقول كم دقيقة ورحنا نخلص وتصلي. Okay, doctor. Thanks a lot.
It's a very good habit to do prayer on time. Really, I interest in it. Really, it's very good. So, I try to quickly finish this lecture. We talked about parameter passing, about integer flows, characters, arrays, and we talked about this slide. And as I said, RPC assumes copy in, copy out. Copy in, copy out means call by value. Copy the values, copy the parameters to the destination. And let me to see. Oh, global variables. Another problem in remote procedure call is about global variables. Do you know what is global variable, local variable, and global variable? Do you know what's the difference?
I'm sorry, doctor. According to what I remember, we can say it's global variables. We can say it's more large, or we can say that means we can use it as the program for a whole program, we can say. But for the other, that means local variables, we can use it by functions, we can say, not saying like a global variable.
Yes. Look at this short program here. In this short program, J is a global variable. Why? Because we can access to read and change the J in all functions, function 1 or main program. We can see it. So it is global variable. All procedures can use this variable. But in main, integer I in main is local variable. Why? Because we cannot access this variable in function 1. In function 1, the top function. It is not accessible. It is local. It is local in main. So it's the difference between local and global variables. Global variables are some problems in remote procedure call. Why? Because if we send a global variable to the destination machine, so you know the global variable is used by many different processes on the source machine. So it may change and the destination cannot be aware of this. So it is difficult to use global variables in remote procedure call. Clear?
يا دكتور أساتذة الأستاذ هنا دا يوضح الفرق بين الفرق بين الجلوبال فاريبل واللوكال فاريبل. يقول لك على سبيل المثال عندك هذا المثال اللي هو حاطه بالنوتس 5. عندك الانتجر جي اوكي والانتجر اي. الانتجر جي يقول لك هذا يعتبر جلوبال فاريبل. ليش جلوبال فاريبل؟ يقول لك لان اقدر اسوي عليه اوصل له واقدر اغيره، دائما اقدر اغيره اوكي باعتبار هو موجود بالمعادله الاولى اوكي، فنقدر نغيره اوكي، نقدر نغير مكانه وقيمته وهيك شيء اوكي. بس يقول لك بالنسبه للاي المتغير اي يقول لك هذا يعتبر شنو لوكال فاريبل. ليش؟ لانه ما اقدر اوصل له مثل ما شو اسمه للمتغير جي انه اقدر اغير قيمته، بمعنى انه الاي ما موجود بالمعادله الاولى اوكي بحيث اقدر اغير قيمته وهيك شيء. فلذلك ذاك جلوبال فاريبل وهذا جلوبال شو اسمه يعني العفو لوكال فاريبل. يقول لك فلذلك الجلوبال فاريبل ما يفيدنا بالشو اسمه بالريموت بروسيسنج كول. ليش؟ نفس المشكله اللي مسا حكيناها انه العناوين مختلفه، فيقول لك من اسوي له كول اقدر اسوي له استدعاء من الكلاينت للسيرفر اوكي، فالقيمه مالته راح تكون مختلفه بالشو اسمه بالسيرفر، فلذلك يعني ما راح يعطينا النتيجه الصحيحه. So doctor, that's mean. Sorry, doctor. Thanks a lot. Welcome, doctor. That's mean global variable. It's not efficient at the remote processing call. So we can use the local variable. We can say, or
yes, exactly. It is better to use local variables in RPC. It is possible to use global variables, but it needs complex mechanisms. So it is not efficient. That's it.
Clear. Let me explain that to the student. Thanks. أساتذة فلذلك يقول لك بالريموت بروسيسنج كول قلنا الجلوبال فاريبل انه نقدر نستعملها بس راح تكون كلش معقدة وش اسمه نتائجها دائما مو النتائج المرجوة مثل ما تقول. فلذلك بالريموت بروسيسنج كول نستعمل شنو اللوكال فاريبل. اوكي؟ Yes, doctor.
And I said about pointers too. Pointers works with addresses. It is some references. So as I said, it is difficult to implement in RPC, and we talked about it. And it's Corba as an example of remote procedure call. You can take a look at it later. And as I said, remote method invocation, it is exactly an equivalent of RPC for object-oriented based machines. So it's too easy. And Java RMI, and if you see here, it is called skeleton, stop procedure on server. I said sometimes called as a skeleton, and it is another example of RMI on Java. And that's it. Java RMI steps. You can take a look at this, and we finished our session by this part of the ayat. Allahumma arina tal'ata ar-rashida wal-ghurrata al-hamida wakhalna udri binadratin minni ilayh wa'ajjil farajah. If there is no question, we can finish our session, and I wish you success.
Thank you a lot, doctor. أساتذة ما أدري إذا عندكم سؤال. هذا اللي مشى عليه نعسر يا الأستاذ قال تقدرون تطلعون عليه. Doctor, just sorry, I have a quick question or just to explain from your side. Sorry, doctor, about the homework, the summarize. In fact, I sent it to you, but we can say late on the date about half minutes because I was looking to the hour time, Iraqi time, which is different from Persian times half hour. So I sent it before the.
It's okay. There is no problem.
Another thing, doctor, about my summary, it's I wrote it same like for example when I wanna do it to myself. That's mean a little bit's not arrangeable, we can say. So I hope that is not a big issue.
I must look at your homework, okay? But don't worry, Mr. Ziauddin. I will give all translators a specific point for translating. So don't worry about this issue. I wish you success, and I hope you have a good night today. And Khuda Hafiz.
Just remember my nickname, doctor.
Okay, I remember. Don't worry.
Thank you, doctor. Khuda Hafiz. Khuda Nagih. Bye bye.